Hey, what's going on, family? Hope everybody's having an awesome day. Brady Clark here. Look, we are back for another video doing a trade overview and upcoming bias where we look at a couple of trades that I've just recently taken, the reasoning behind why I took those positions, and the upcoming biases on those same pairs that I have going forward for the next 24 hours, for the next trading week, really just the foreseeable future that we're looking at. So in this video, we're going to be looking at Gbp Usd, Gbp Jpy, and Aud Usd. The most recent positions that I've taken on those, the reasons why I took them, the outcome of those trades, and then, as I mentioned, what we're looking at playing out over the next trading day. So we're going to start it off with Aud USD. I'm currently riding out a buy position on AU. Took entry. We took an entry this morning at about 5:30 a.m. Eastern, just after 5 a.m. when price was pushing off of 0.7080. And what we were initially looking at was price had made a rush into the downside. Price has made a rush in the downside and crushed into 0.7000 weekly key level. And as we see, that level has been holding as a super high impact level for quite some time. And as I mentioned with my students, running into a daily key level is one thing. And if we see price hesitating at that level, running into some difficulty and turning around at that level is one thing. But when we run into a weekly level is a whole different story, because weekly levels hold so much impact that this could set up opportunities on AUD USD to go bullish for quite some time into any of these daily levels, if not directly back into that next weekly level above 0.7469. So price initially going bullish off of 0.7000. We had a little bit of consolidation in here throughout yesterday's trading day. And then in London session, we had a little bit of a breakout into the upside. The level that I was specifically looking at was this hourly high here. Anywhere from, 70, 76 down to 70, 72-ish, just the high side of this consolidation range. As soon as we saw that was broken, these two wicks shot in the downside is where I took that entry, with stop loss just down at 70.55, and I've been scaling up that position since then. Okay. At roughly 55 pips, which is literally only 2 pips above where we're at right now. When we're roughly 55 pips in a profit, I closed out 50% of that position, and I brought my stop loss up just above our daily key level here at 71. Okay, so on AU, we could see the potential drop back into 7,100. It could come from where price is at now, but I think we're going to make the extension up into 7,170 and then make that drop back, right? See the push up, the push down, followed by the continuation up. But I think overall the bias will stay intact as bullish, since we've now made that rejection away from 0.7000 weekly, and we've crushed around 7,100 daily zone. So bullish bias remains the same, just looking for potential retracements, either off of this current level where price is dropping off from. I don't think it will be, though. I think we'll make that push up and then make the rollover. So that's AUD USD. We'll have a little bit of a look here at Gbp Jpy. We'll flip that over. I just had the inverted chart on there. So took an entry this morning at around the same time, about 5:30 a.m. Eastern time. So entry was at 154.85. Right and around here when price was dropping these wicks into the lows. So what we saw overall was price made a strong breach. Over the past couple of weeks, we saw the tip over from 156 daily key level, and we made a roll into the lows. We cleared our next daily key level, but then we pulled ourselves back above. And the price action that we saw when price pulled back above was beautiful. We had these nice 1, 2 clean wick rejections. We also had different session levels and session cycles mixed into that same zone. Price went extremely bullish off of that daily key level at 154.19. We pushed up and creating new 4-hour highs, and then when price dropped back off, we printed off this very evident 1-hour low key level. Okay, so price came down, printed off the level, price came back into the zone. We had 1, 2, 3 wick rejections off the lows. Price went bullish. When we saw this pull back into the downside, that's when I took entry. We had that dip down, price went a little bit more further bullish up, and we started dropping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wicks into the downside. That's where I took initial entry. And GJ was super annoying because stop loss was sitting in at 154.60. So just to give an example of that, entry at 154.85, take profits way up there. Stop loss was right in here at 154.60. So basically, price dropped down, just barely took out that stop loss, like literally directly into that stop loss, and then went bullish. And we had the opportunity to catch a second entry down here. And the second entry was super obvious because if we just look at the level that we came off of, it wasn't any surprise. It wasn't an odd area for price to turn around at all. We'll notice price dropped back, but then as soon as we crushed back into this hourly level, off those hourly and 15-minute closures, we turned around. And not only that, is we had a session level cycle in that exact same point, which, as we always talk about, the session level cycles are where our entries 95% of the time are coming off of. Okay, so that entry made total sense on GJ, and then just been going bullish since then. So I took a little bit of a stop loss on there, but what I'm looking for next is we have H4 levels resting just in around 155.20, just looking for price to clear that zone. And as soon as we get a clear and a retest of that 4-hour zone, then we can be looking to scale positions up into 156 on Gbp Jpy. Alrighty. And then Gbp Usd, last pair I just wanted to touch on briefly. And this is another perfect example of our entries coming off of those session cycle levels just down here. This is where I caught entry this morning. This was just before or at the start of New York session at about 7:45, 8 a.m. Eastern time. We saw price has been going bullish, very steady off of our 1.3365 daily key level. Clearing out H4 levels, retesting H4 levels, clearing out H4 levels, retesting H4 levels. And when we were pushing in towards the highs, we were about 50% from H4 level to H4 level. We were at about 50%. And we had just made this push for the open of, or not even the open of New York, but before New York session, you know, kind of the crossover between London and New York, between about 3:30 and 6 a.m. We made that push to the upside. And then price very suddenly started to have this big drop back. But same thing, it wasn't weird. It wasn't a surprise where price came into, because we came directly back into one of our session cycle levels. Had the beautiful double 15-minute wick rejection, and price goes bullish. What I'm always telling my students is when price comes into one of these session levels at the start of a session, and we see these very clear and evident 15-minute candle rejections, the wick rejections, all we got to do is wait for the 15-minute and 30-minute candle closures. And as soon as we see that confirmation, we can take those entries. Because as I mentioned, right, 95% of the time, these entries are coming off of these session level cycles. So we just got to spot them out, mix it with what we're already looking at, the bias we're already looking at, the other confluences we already have on the table in the higher time frame analysis, mix it with all of that, but just getting those pinpoint entries off of the session levels. So Gbp Usd going forward, very similar to what we see on GJ. Just looking for price to have a very good clear of this 4-hour level coming through here, which is at about 35.22. We've started to push past the level a little bit, barely though. I want to see a little bit further bullish price action over the next couple of hours, and then most likely we'll take a buy position nearing in towards London. But overall, bullish bias. Right? I want to see price crush up into 1.3578 daily key level, if not higher, into these next daily key levels up here at 36.86. Alrighty, everyone. So those are the three pairs I want to go over: Gbp Usd, Gbp Jpy, and Aud Usd, the positions that I have taken, and then the bias that I'm looking for the remainder of the trading week. All right, y'all. So I hope that y'all got some value from this video. I've got a lot more coming in the process. Editing quality is going to be going up. Everything's going to be going up. Hope you guys are getting some value and really enjoying. I'll see everybody on the next video.